Do you have a reason that you were applying for this job, that you like love pets or something?
I do. I love pets. I've had pets all of my life. It wasn't until after college did I really realize the need and the how many homeless pets there were and how many animal shelters that are out there that are completely full and don't have space for any more. And unfortunately, it's not the animal shelter's fault, but they do have to euthanize animals like almost on a daily or weekly basis because there's just not enough room to house them all. So I've been in the pet business for about 15 years, and so being in that business, it's just kind of evolved to seeing all different kind of circumstances and where pets need us. And I'm a big softie, and I just can't stand for them not to be cared for and well taken care for and loved on. So that's kind of how it started for me, because I did have a grooming shop, and even like some of my best grooming customers that would take immaculate care of their dogs, and then for some reason, like, a parent would die and they would have to go take care of the other parent, and they might have been allergic to their pet and they just couldn't take it, but they didn't want to take their pet to the animal shelter. So I started out really rehoming pets in that way, along with the occasional stray I would find on the road.
How do you, like, I wouldn't say like advertise, but kind of like show your animals up for adoption off?
We have a really cool website, and we also use petfinder.com. All of our pets are listed on petfinder.com. We try to go out in our community at least once or twice a week in different places doing adoption events, taking several dogs to an adoption day, like our recent one at PetSmart. We Our constant presence at PetSmart on Bleachery Drive Avenue, one of those. Our cat lady team is there Wednesdays from 6 to 8, and they do also on Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 4. So we try to bring our animals to the public a lot. And our shelter is open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday from 8 to 6. So we try to have hours where we are available to the community, not only during the work hour times, but the after work kind of times when, people are getting off work and have time to go to the animal shelter and not be rushed.
So, do you guys have like a full amount, or do you guys, no matter what, you guys take in like pets, dogs and cats? Like, what is your capacity for dogs?
We do have a full amount, and that is for the dogs at our shelter anyway. For the dogs, about 40, and the cats, 12. We do have to turn people away. If it's someone in the community who can help us help them, we work with them. We have a waiting list for people to get their dogs into Brother Wolf. And sometimes that could just be a couple of weeks, and sometimes it's longer depending on the breed or depending on how many adoptions that we've had. Usually the average is 2 or 3 weeks. If the people who either find a stray dog or need to rehome their pet, they contact us, then we can kind of start getting them worked into the system of how it works. If they don't have time to work with, we give them a few alternative numbers, the Asheville Humane Society, and there are other few groups in town that may help.
Do you take in like donations for your center?
Yes, we appreciate donations immensely. We rarely turn anything away, but we take dog food, cat litter, any type of cleaning supplies. It seems like we go through bleach like it's water and laundry detergent, paper towels. We also have the thrift store, and we can take donations there as well for us to sell different merchandise in the thrift store. We love monetary donations because we always have high vet bills that we need to pay down. So yes, we take any kind of donation.
About what you said before, what separates you guys from the other animal shelters?
I don't know exactly what separates us. I know that Brother Wolf is a group of wonderful, animal-loving, people-friendly people. We really just want to make a difference in our community, and we want to help people just as best as we can. So I think I don't know if that's a difference or if that's just us trying to be involved really with our community and have the community help us so we can also help the community. I think that's mainly the difference. We're trying to really network with our community to just make a change in Buncombe County and Asheville, because it's just sad that there's too many animals without enough people to love them.
How do you care for sick animals?
Well, if our animals are sick, we go to a vet. We use several different vets in the area depending on the ailment of the animal. We use the Humane Alliance Spay and Neuter Clinic to get all of our animals spayed and neutered. And we have a few vet techs that work on staff, and we're able to give basic veterinary care like shots or microchipping and the heartworm testing and stuff like that we can do at the shelter.
Do you have, like, when you have the dogs and the cats in the in your in what's it called? Shelter, sorry. Thank you. We have your dogs and cats in your shelter. Do you guys have a website that we can go to see the dogs and cats?
Yes, it's bwar.org, which stands for Brother Wolf Animal Rescue.org. And you can see all of our pets, our dogs and cats. We also have a few special needs animals. They have their own special page. And we also list all of the events in our adoption events, like where we're going to be out in town and what dates we're going to do special events. Like we have a Swim With Your Dog Day coming up in Black Mountain soon, so you can get information on our website for all that.
Do you only take in like specific breeds of dogs and cats, or is it just like whatever comes to you?
It's basically whatever comes to us. I mean, we don't discriminate by breed. I will say that in our area there are a lot of pit bulls and there are a lot of hound dogs, and both of those dogs are great breeds, but they're not a breed for everybody. And then sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get certain breeds adopted out. So if we have, say, 3 or 4 pit bulls or 3 or 4 hound dogs at our shelter, that's usually about all we can keep, because it takes usually about 6 months or more to find the right home for those dogs. So if we have people contacting us on our waiting list that have a pit bull or a hound dog, and we already are full, that their wait on our waiting list might be a little bit longer depending on our rate of adoption, because we love the pit bulls and the hound dogs, and that's what my house is full of, but we can't take all of those at the shelter because we have to keep a variety of animals there for the public to pick from when they do want to adopt their pet.
How can people like interact with the community of your shelter and help out your shelter more?
We have so many opportunities at our shelter for volunteering. At the shelter, you can come and walk dogs, you can sit with puppies, you can pet cats, you can sweep, mop, fill up water bowls, fold laundry, any variety of chores like that. We also have the thrift store, and for the people who don't feel like they can walk dogs or mop or lift heavy stuff, they can come in and price new items that we get for the thrift store. It actually kind of becomes a little cluttered in there sometimes, so to straighten up or to rehang clothes. We also for events out in the community, we need volunteers to maybe run dogs around, take them back and forth to adoption days or vet appointments, and just kind of sometimes table for us, which actually just means going somewhere and talking about Brother Wolf and handing out brochures. So there's so many different opportunities to volunteer, and we welcome everybody to come volunteer.
What are a couple of the events?
The events, we recently had a it was a Blackbird Framing and Art, and it was like an art gallery event where different artists were featured that had pet paintings, pet art, let's say. So we had that, and it was a fundraising event to help raise money for the shelter. We also, in the winter, we have something called a fur ball, which is where we all get dressed up and have fun at the holiday party kind of thing. And it's also a fundraiser for, shelter needs for the year. So we have different ones. And also another volunteer opportunity, which is a fun event for everyone, is hiking with your dogs. We do Outward Hounds Hiking Club, and right now it's on Wednesdays. We usually leave the shelter around 10 o'clock and go for a hike in different destinations. That's also listed on our website, but we're also getting ready to start that on Sundays. So for the people who can't have to work on Wednesdays, we're going to start it on Sundays or every other Sunday. We're having some volunteers begging for that, so.
Well, do you guys have like pet showings, like when people come to adopt pets? Do you guys have maybe like activities for the people to come and see how the animals react to their behaviors?
Well, when they come into the shelter, it's not always very indicative of their behavior, because a lot of times dogs are very excited in the shelter and they bark or they act all silly. So we like to bring the dogs outside of the shelter and ask the potential adopter to maybe walk them, take them for a little walk, because then they usually calm down. Most of our dogs know some basic obedience commands, basically just like sit and no or wait, or down, those that, they will do for treats. We try to teach them to do everything with food, and because it helps, they learn faster. But the new ones that just come in, they might not know sit. So we tell them what the dogs may or may not know regarding any training. And then if they do have other pets that they'd like to introduce their dog to see if they would be good with their other animal, we welcome them to bring them down, and we usually take them on a walk outside of the shelter together. And if all goes well on the walk, then we let them come back in the shelter, and we have like a big play yard where we can let the two dogs off leash to run and play and see how they get along.
With your website and like your different advertising throughout the community, how long do certain animals usually stay?
The average stay, I believe, well, I don't know, it's very dependent on the breed, actually, or the age of the pet. I mean, some pets we have for a few days, some a few months, and we actually have a couple in the shelter that have been there over a year. So, and with the long-termers at the shelter, that's when we really rely on our volunteers, and we have some great volunteers that know that we have some long-termers and will come and walk them every day, or they will come and get them and take them to the park, or sometimes just to go for a car ride. We have one volunteer who can't have pets at home but is deeply in love with Buddy the hound dog, who's been there for a year, and she takes him to work with her. They let him bring him to work. And so, so we really try to provide a good quality of life, especially for the long-termers. They have several enrichment toys. We do, and we usually always make sure the long-termers get to go on the hikes and get to interact a lot with the volunteers coming in, so they don't get bored and upset.
About the dogs, have you ever, before, like when they're opened, when they bring dogs and cats in, have you ever had a dog being born at your shelter?
Being born?
Yeah.
No, I haven't had a dog being born at the shelter. We did take in a mama dog that, she was like a little spaniel, black and white spaniel-y mix, that was just at the point to where she was about to pop. And like we thought she was going to pop any second, and somebody picked her up off the side of the road. And so and of course it happened to be on a weekend when like no vets are open, so we sent her to a foster mom who does a lot of our puppies that we get in. And sometimes we do get nursing moms with puppies, so she will take those. And she took Eliza, And I think it was the very next day,